On March 18, 2018, an Uber self-driving test vehicle struck and killed pedestrian Elaine Hertzberg in Tempe, Arizona. This tragic event transforms what was once a hypothetical ethical puzzle into a stark reality. Philippa Foot's trolley problem, originally a philosophical thought experiment, now intersects with the real-world dilemma of what autonomous systems should be permitted to optimize. The incident raises questions about the intentions embedded within algorithms and the moral frameworks guiding them. Foot's trolley problem first appeared in her 1967 essay, The Problem of Abortion and the Doctrine of Double Effect. It was part of her exploration into moral philosophy, where she used the runaway trolley scenario to question our understanding of intentional harm. The US National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, later issued a report on the Tempe crash, highlighting that the Uber system detected Hertzberg 5.6 seconds before impact, but failed to classify her correctly as a pedestrian. This real-world failure prompts us to revisit Foot's philosophical inquiry. How should we weigh intentions and outcomes when humans are removed from direct control? At the heart of Foot's argument lies the doctrine of double effect. This principle, first discussed by Thomas Aquinas in the 13th century, distinguishes between harm that is intentionally caused and harm that is merely foreseen. Foot applied this doctrine to cases of abortion, strategic bombing, and the trolley problem, illustrating the complexity of moral judgments. She argued that moral evaluations must focus on what an agent does, rather than merely the total outcomes. Here, the Uber crash raises a crucial question. Can algorithms distinguish between intentions and side effects in the way humans might? In the trolley problem, a runaway tram threatens to kill 5 people unless diverted onto another track, where it will kill 1 person. Foot uses this scenario to examine whether fewer deaths justify every possible action to prevent them. She contends that redirecting the tram, if it results in 1 death as a foreseen side effect rather than an intended means, may be permissible. This distinction between doing harm and allowing harm is morally significant, though not always consistently applicable. This brings us to the modern-day challenge. How do autonomous systems, like the Uber vehicle, integrate these nuanced moral distinctions into their programming? Judith Jarvis Thomson and Peter Singer offer strong critiques of Foot's reliance on intention. Thomson's loop case, presented in The Trolley Problem in 1985, tests the limits of Foot's argument by asking if the diversion is permissible when the person on the side track stops the trolley from reaching others. Peter Singer, in Famine, Affluence and Morality, argues that the prevention of suffering should create demanding duties regardless of moral comfort. These perspectives challenge Foot's framework, suggesting that intention may be too unstable to bear the moral weight she assigns it. We will address these critiques directly, but first we must understand the implications of Foot's core argument. Foot's argument suggests that saving more lives does not always justify the means by which we achieve that outcome. Her scenario underscores that negative duties not to injure can constrain our positive efforts to save others. This distinction becomes crucial in the context of autonomous vehicles. The Tempe crash demonstrates that engineers must set policies before emergencies occur, limiting the ability to consider intentions in real time. The German Ethics Commission's 2017 report reinforces this by stating that accident decisions must not be based on personal characteristics. Thus, the practical limits of trolley reasoning become evident when applied to pre-programmed systems like Uber's. As we navigate the complexities of autonomous decision-making, the question remains, how can these systems reflect the nuances of moral philosophy? The Uber crash in Tempe forces us to confront whether algorithms can embody the ethical principles we value. Philippa Foot's exploration of intentions and harms provides a framework, yet the modern landscape of technology presents new challenges. The next step is to examine how these philosophical ideas hold up against contemporary critiques, particularly where intention seems inadequate to guide autonomous decision-making. Judith Jarvis Thomson's loop case, introduced in her 1985 work, The Trolley Problem, presents a significant challenge to Philippa Foot's reliance on intention. In this version, the trolley can be diverted onto a loop, where it will only stop if it hits a person on the track, thereby saving 5 others. Thomson's scenario questions whether the moral calculus changes when the person on the side track serves as both a victim and a means to halt the trolley. This loop case tests the limits of Foot's argument. suggesting that the distinction between intended means and foreseen side effects may not fully account for all moral intuitions. Peter Singer further presses this point in his 1972 essay, Famine, Affluence and Morality, where he contends that the prevention of suffering imposes duties on us, irrespective of our moral comfort or proximity. Singer's consequentialism implies that the outcomes, rather than intentions, should guide our actions. Together, these critiques argue that intention might be too fragile a foundation for moral judgments, especially in scenarios involving life and death. This criticism prompts us to re-evaluate how autonomous systems can incorporate these ethical considerations when they lack the capacity for intention. Autonomous vehicles, like the Uber involved in the Tempe incident, expose the practical limitations of trolley reasoning. Engineers must predefine policies before any specific emergency arises, leaving little room for nuanced moral judgment at the moment of impact. The German Ethics Commission's 2017 report underscores this challenge, emphasizing that accident decisions must not rely on personal characteristics such as age or gender. In the case of the Tempe crash, the Uber vehicle, a Volvo XC90 fitted with Uber's autonomous system, had its automatic emergency braking disabled to minimize erratic behavior during testing. This modification highlights the tension between pre-programmed systems and real-time ethical decision-making. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, identified this as a contributing factor in the crash, illustrating the necessity for robust safety protocols that consider ethical implications. The rigidity of preset algorithms underscores the need for new frameworks that account for moral complexities in autonomous decision-making. This reality forces us to confront the gap between philosophical ideals and technical execution. Yet, Philippa Foot's original question remains relevant. Can automated systems distribute risk without a single driver forming an intention at the moment of collision? Foot's argument from 1967 was crafted for human agents who could distinguish between their aims and mere foresight. Autonomous vehicles, however, are shaped by design choices, training data, sensors, and safety policies established well before any incident occurs. The NTSB's 2019 report on the Tempe crash highlighted Uber's inadequate safety risk assessment, emphasizing the critical role of preemptive policymaking in autonomous technology. As autonomous systems continue to evolve, we must consider how these philosophical ideas translate into practical guidelines. The European Union's AI Act, which came into force in 2024, introduces risk-based rules for AI systems, aiming to address these very challenges. This regulatory framework seeks to balance innovation with ethical responsibility. But the question remains, how can we ensure that autonomous technologies align with our moral values? The intersection of philosophy and technology invites us to rethink how we navigate ethical dilemmas in a rapidly changing world. As we grapple with the implications of autonomous decision-making, Philippa Foot's exploration of intentions and harms provides a valuable lens. However, the modern landscape poses new questions about the adequacy of these philosophical principles. The challenge lies in integrating these insights into systems that lack human intuition and judgment. Can our ethical frameworks evolve to guide machines in the absence of human intention? Or must we develop new paradigms altogether? This is the pressing question that will shape the future of autonomous technologies and their impact on society. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of philosophy and technology. Consider subscribing for more deep dives into the intersections of thought and reality.